ALG really saved me. I put all of my success on joining this group. People constantly checking in saved me.
I made so many friends with people that I've never met, but I feel incredibly close to, and I consider them family.
It really is a family. It is a place where you can just be yourself and there is no judgment. There is no shame. You are so welcome there.
Nobody has to be in this alone. Everybody is either going through or has gone through the same thing at one point.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to another edition of the ALG podcast. If you're listening to this on the day of drop, happy Friday to you. Guys, this week we have a really special episode. We're doing part 2 of my brother Gooch. You know, last week's episode was so good that we had to bring him back for more. So really quick at the top of the hour, if you could 5-star rate and review the podcast, we really appreciate that. That helps the podcast go a long way. We really do appreciate those 5-star rates and reviews. And now let's kick off the show. As always, I am John Arpino, otherwise known as J. Arp's Journey. Today I am joined alongside my partner in crime, Fit_D-Rock, David Roden, and my man Gooch is back in the building. I am Gooch, you're not. Gooch, what's cracking?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
How we doing,
Glad
brother?
to be back, man.
Hell yeah, man. Listen, this is the first of a part 2 series, so I'm really glad that we're doing this. You know, we left a lot out the last time around, and we have to fill in those pieces because I just think that your story is very, very inspiring, very interesting. So I think that we should just pick up right where we left off.
What are we at? We're talking about, I guess when I first realized that I needed to do something, you know, hopping on the scale, whatnot, doing my T25, losing my first 100. I would say right around that time, after I lost my first 100, everything was kind of smooth sailing.
Mm-hmm.
And we had kids, you know.
Now, before we get into the kids, how did you lose the first 100?
Oh, just T25.
That was it, just straight out the gate.
Straight okay. T25, 2,000 calories per day, and literally just working my ass off every opportunity I could. I mean, that was, of course, before kids, so you have a lot more time and less time constraints. But I just got the T25. Like I said, I pulled it off the net. I started doing that every day. I tried their meal plan for a week. It really wasn't my thing.
So what was their meal plan like?
You know, like fish and baby spinach and quinoa and sweet potatoes and just like shit that you would call healthy. But with, you know what the big thing I didn't like was like, it was just the stuff they wanted you to get, in my opinion, I didn't want to pay that money for.
Okay.
I didn't want to buy some of like the things that were like all of the fat-free and all the sugar-free. Because of course, it is what it is. Unhealthy shit is cheaper than healthier stuff. It's the world we live in. And that's part of the reason why people are obese and get obese is because $5 can go a lot further with unhealthy shit than it can go with healthy stuff. So it is what it is. So I didn't want to do all that. I didn't want to pay for all the crazy stuff that they said you should get. And back then I didn't really do a lot of supplements because that's another thing is they want you to not only do their workout plan, but use preferred supplements. Maybe not a Beachbody brand, but you should be taking like all of these type of things. And
what was on there? Like protein type stuff, or was it like multivitamin type stuff?
Protein shakes, vitamins, everyday multivitamins, aminos. Not that those things are bad. It's just at that point in my journey, I wasn't prepared, which I should have because I downloaded that shit. I probably should have given them some money, but I just didn't want to spend that. And then you mix it with the food and everything. You mix it with the food and everything, and I'm like, you know, I can't really handle all that right now. So that's when I broke down to 2,000 calories. A lot of it was chicken. Like I went from eating just.
Oh, you were eating chicken, or they were telling you to eat a lot of chicken?
I was eating chicken. When I said fuck it, I'm gonna do my own thing. A lot of chicken and vegetables. Like I love just salad. Like I can eat salad all the time. I know some people like it's not their thing. They're not really into green vegetables and all that bullshit. But like I fuck with salad. I can eat salad. I could throw chicken over salad and eat the same thing. That was probably one of the easiest things for me in the beginning was like the way I grew up, like just we kind of ate the same things all the time, is whatever we could afford, whatever was, we got government assistance. So it was what was provided to us. So we ate what we had. So I have never been the type of person who, like, if I'm eating this today and then I'm eating it tomorrow and I'm eating it the next day, I was kind of okay with that, especially if it's something that I picked. If I'm in control of it, like, I don't like going on a plan where it's like, eat this fish and then eat this fish. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I eat chicken, vegetables. I didn't really do a lot of rice. It's trial and error, because you just go on the internet.
Absolutely.
100%.
You go on the internet and you Google 500-pound weight loss. And then you just get all the different fitness people on YouTube and you read a bunch of stuff. And there's just so much information coming at you that it's so hard to really find what fits, because and that's how you get caught up in like the fad diets and trying this. And, especially down here in Florida, like, there's a lot of just obese people. Like,
and you're in like the Herbalife capital of the world down there. I feel like everyone on Florida love Herbalife.
John, it's Herbalife, not Herbalife.
No, it's because they're all herbs. Much. Everyone who does it is a fucking herb.
No, they're heavy out here. Like, their cars. I would say in my kids' pickup line, we do like the car loop shit. There's mad people with the Herbalife stickers on the back, and it's like, oh, want to lose 15 pounds? Call me at this number. I'm like, nope, jackass, not doing that.
Nope, that's too far. I do got to say, going through the process of thinking about like 400-pound David again, and just so many people. I'm blessed where it's just like, I did come from a medical background enough where I dove into macros. I dove into this stuff to really look at, like, figure it out. But from the outside looking in, if you didn't have any type of background, you have Paul Saladino, Dr. Paul Saladino, who's a carnivore guy, saying that vegetables is going to kill you. And then you got vegans going, meat's going to kill you and meat's making you fat. And you just got to be like, what the fuck is it? Is it the meat or is it the vegetables? I don't know. And if both sides can have this argument from a doctor's perspective, it's just like, fuck, what is it?
Oh, it's wild. Yeah. No. And like, there's no cookie cutter way to weight loss. There's no cookie cutter way to success. And that's the whole name of the game. And that's what a lot of people, myself included, when starting out this journey, everyone thinks it's a very cut and dry process. And it's really about a process of finding what works for you. And then once you find what works for you, it's like, shit, why wasn't I doing this the whole time?
Exactly. You got to figure out what works for me and what I can maintain. That's the hard thing too. Yes. Not just so much what I can do for myself and what works for me, but what can I be consistent with? Because that's where the breakdown comes. Because if you can't be consistent, you're never going to make the goal. And that's where part of, like, within my story, where my breakdown went and where kind of like my weight gain went, because I could not remain consistent. What you're doing. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into that. So you find you're not interested in the T25 meal plan. You kind of create your own thing. Yeah. Walk me through, what that was, and then how you figured out that it wasn't sustainable.
So like I said, I did that. I lost the 100 doing T25 workouts and my own 2,000 calorie a day. And when I say 2,000 calories, like, I was pretty strict, but I didn't kill myself if I ate over 2,000, but I had a limit, because there were some days where I ate like 1,600. And I know, like I said, mathematically, some people will say, oh, you're not supposed to eat less than that at your size, but I'm not just going to eat just to eat. Like, I look at that as like just shoving food in my face. I just feel like I'm being like a fat ass by just eating more because some app or some person is telling me I need to eat more. I get it. I 100% stand behind, you need to eat more to lose weight. But some days it's just not possible. I don't feel like eating. So some days I had low calorie intake, and it's all good. But so I did that for a while. I lost my first 100 pounds. I felt phenomenal. I got to a weight and I dropped even more than 100. And I will tell you that right around like 450 is where I was happy. And I was like, yo, like, not saying I was happy to be 450 pounds, but I was happy to not be, upwards of 560 something.
Right.
So, but I couldn't break that. I never saw like 449 for so long. And I was doing everything and working out harder and pushing myself, and then we got into a situation where we were ready to have children. And around that time, we found out that we were going to have to go through IVF, and it was on me. Like and I think a lot of it had to do with my weight too. Like I had like know what I'm saying? I had the premium batter, but they just weren't good swimmers. You know what I mean? It was
Absolutely.
they were freaking Michael Jordans, but you know what I mean?
But we needed some Michael Phelps.
Yeah, exactly. They just couldn't make the swim. So
yeah,
you know, I found that out, and that was hard. You know, that brings down your confidence level in general. You know, because like that's like the manly thing. Like I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna reproduce.
right.
So that fucks with you, and I think part of that kind of made it hard for our whole marriage and situation because like we really wanted to have kids. So we ended up going through in vitro. And with all of that, that stress of doing that and just the time that needed to invest into that, like working out became secondhand because now it's like we want to have a family, we want to do this. And then in the midst of that, the company or the practice that we were going to for our in vitro, and this was at my wife too, she was at one of her heaviest weights. They had basically were like ready to do it. We were ready for our injections and everything to start. And then they called us and I was like, yo, we had a meeting with the practice and for her, your BMI is too high. You gotta get it together before we can do it. You know, we don't want to put you under at that high BMI. So that's what kind of kicked off her journey as well. So now we're both fighting to get lower and everything. Fast forward, she gets to her weight. We have kids. My kids, I got twins. They were born 8 weeks early. So then, and on top of that, at 20 weeks of the pregnancy, my wife got sent straight to hospital bed rest. Hospital bed rest. So we were at a hospital all the way down Blaine, which is about an hour from us, for straight from 20 weeks to 32 weeks. So for 12 weeks plus, we were in a hospital. Wasn't working out in a hospital.
12 weeks, damn.
Yeah, and then the kids were born, and then they were in there for another month before we could take them out. So, you know, that brought up weight gain, and like honestly, that brought me closer.
Oh yeah, stress and weight loss do not go hand in hand.
Yeah, that brought me closer back to 5. And that was a rough time because I was going back higher again and getting back into the 5'10s, 5'20s.
Right.
And then we were like, you know what, kids are situated. We have more time. We figured out a schedule, figure out a game plan. That's about 5-6 months later. We start working out. My wife is like, all right, I'm going to do this T25 with you because it works so well. So we start working out. First week, we've knocked it out. And I lost, you know, a decent amount of weight the first week. And she was gaining weight. And she's like, I don't know. So we did another week and she was like, I can't do this. I'm not losing weight. Freaking got a pregnancy test. We found out we were pregnant again.
Oh, wow.
But this time, my swimmers, they made the journey because this one was El Natural. This one wasn't even.
My man went into the bathroom after it was like, good job, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely. So, and that was a surprise because you got to figure we went through so much to have the twins. We didn't think we were going to have any more. So, like, we didn't get.
Now that's pretty common, right? To do in vitro, then have twins or larger, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, because you know what? Because you're striving to have a child. So because it's all part of like a process and it's like there's a procedure, you can choose how many eggs you want to put in. But like I said, like I had that premium batter.
Right. You had
so
that
the
good
doctor
stuff.
straight up said, like, yo, if you put in 2, I'm almost 90% sure you're gonna have twins. But we were at a point where my wife is turning 24 soon, and we were gonna lose her parents' medical that had like the premium medical with all of this covered.
Right.
My medical didn't cover all this stuff. Her parents' medical covered all of that in vitro, so we didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. So we were like, just put in 2 because with the way this works, we're not gonna have enough time. She's gonna turn 25, we're gonna lose it.
Right.
So we put in 2. We went. They took everything. You know, I had to inject her and everything at home, inject her in the butt and the final big one in the stomach. Like we did all that. Well, that was a really rough, but very like marriage building situation.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
You know, then we went to go take this test and they give you like these numbers and the number was like off the chart. And they were like, oh, you're definitely pregnant. So we were like, oh, we did it. So we waited. We had a little situation in the beginning where she had like a little blood clot. We went into the doctor's office. And they were like, yo, you have a blood clot wrapped around baby B. And I said, that's right. We got a boy. And he was like, what? He said, no, it's too soon to tell the gender. It's baby B. And I said, okay, yeah, baby boy. And he was like, no, there's baby A and then there's baby B. And I was like, oh, there's 2 in there? Because we didn't know at that point. We found out there was 2 in there when one was about to be flushed out by the blood clot.
Wow.
So then, 5-6 weeks later, well, they put us to a perinatologist, a special baby doctor. Then 5-6 weeks later, we're in the hospital. So whatever. Then doing the T25, take a pregnancy test, find out we're pregnant, and then you deal with that. And then that kind of workout stuff goes to a halt again.
Right.
So finally, when all 3 kids are out, we're done. She got her stuff tied up. So we're not having any more kids naturally. Parenting, being a father comes into place, and sometimes working out just kind of goes to the wayside. So there was a time, I would say, for a few years after, I would say, so my youngest is like 6 now, I would say like 6 years ago, where I didn't. And I just let being a father and keeping up with our home and all that stuff take over my goals. And, so I was on a high, as far as a high being on a low weight.
Right.
And then
you're also on a high in life. I mean, you're a dad now. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, I took the 100 pounds back off, so it's all good.
Right.
And that's the thing. So I've done it like 2 times now.
So you lost the 100, gained the 100, lost the 100.
Yeah, I lost 100, and I probably went back to like my highest back up was like 520, and now, so from 520, fuck it. I mean, I'm like, what was I today? This morning, 429.
Okay.
So it is what it is. I mean, you're not gonna believe if I tell you I'm 200 pounds. Look at me. So it is.
No, you a sexy 429 though. I gotta be honest.
You
know what I'm saying?
So I'm 429 this morning. I feel good, but yeah, I went from 520 back down to 429, just grinding and everything. But I got caught up. Even after that, working out and everything, I probably got to like 480, and that was right around the time I joined Weight Watchers. My wife did Weight Watchers. My wife, you probably seen her. She's on Instagram, Lighten Up Lori. She did Weight Watchers. She lost like 150
deal.
plus. Yeah, she was like 150 plus pounds. She was doing her thing. She was an ambassador and everything. She really worked that program. It worked for her. And you would think that I would have just joined years ago, but it's a man thing. You're just like, I'm gonna figure it out myself. I don't want to do this. Only old ladies do this shit. And like,
exactly.
Fuck it, I don't do that.
Me and my good swimmers, we're going that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were taking the party on this side. We're doing T25. You know what I mean? So, and then finally I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. They had like a little deal. They were like, oh, you sign up, you get X amount of months for free. So I said, I'm gonna do it. And I did that. I started Weight Watchers in 2019, but I started it because they had the deal right before Thanksgiving. And I'm like, yo, how are they gonna put?
It's such a good promo on their marketing team. It's
because they're like, oh, you don't got to pay for 3 months, because they know for 3 months I'm gonna just beast out on Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. So the first 3 months, honestly, it didn't even matter. Like my first week, I lost weight. I did it, and it was cool. I would say in my total time Weight Watchers, I probably lost like 20 pounds. I'm not saying that that's a good or bad thing. The program taught me a lot. Currently, like I still have my Weight Watchers account, but right now I'm just eating low carb, not keto. I'm eating low carb. I'm tracking it in Weight Watchers so I know how many points I'm having, but I'm also tracking it so I can see my calorie intake, because that's what worked for me. That was the big deal. It's like the calorie counting and knowing how many calories I'm eating is what worked for me. Weight Watchers did good. I lost 20 pounds over the year, but then I put some back on. And the tail end of it, I didn't love that. I was
plan were you?
Back on. I was doing purple, and I did purple because it was easier. For me, it was easier. So
that's the 0 point grilled chicken and stuff like that on purple.
I think all of them are grilled chicken, but purple has a 0 point like sweet potatoes and
Okay,
rice
that's it.
And brown rice and brown pasta, whatever. And like people are like, oh, you can get carried away. But the thing is, like, I'm not gonna eat a pound of pasta. So if I know it's 0 points, I still have the serving that I should eat. And I think that's where people get carried away. People go to purple because they're like, I'm going to eat brown rice. I'm going to eat brown pasta. I'm going to eat sweet potatoes. Yes. But then you overindulge in those things. And all it's like, it's not working for me. It's not working for me. I'm like, yo, look at your counter. Oh, well, I did have 14 ounces of rice. And, like, all right, it's 0 points, but it don't mean and that's the thing.
0 calories.
Yep. They don't.
That's my problem.
Points.
Yep, that's my problem with Weight Watchers, and we have a numerous amount of episodes about that. But they do not bring into play the calories for the consumer. They kind of I call Weight Watchers a cult. and I was in Weight Watchers for a while as a kid. I understand the process. My stepmom is currently on Weight Watchers. She's been on Weight Watchers for over a year and a half. But yeah, they don't make that connection for people. So like you just said, someone sees brown rice, brown pasta, 0 points. Fuck, I could eat that all fucking day long. And I didn't even touch my points yet, and then you go up 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds the next weigh-in, and you're like, well, what I made my
follow the plan.
I hit my points. Yeah, I got my blue dot. Everything's fantastic.
I never chased a blue dot. Like that was probably the worst. That was one of the worst things. And I'm not bashing it because it does work. Don't get me wrong.
No,
like
Weight Watchers.
My wife
Weight Watchers works.
that it works.
Yes.
It's just like, but that's the thing. You can't correlate if you're not correlating calories, caloric intake. Like you said, like I'm gonna eat 0 points for brown rice and chicken, and I'm gonna have brown rice and chicken for lunch and dinner, and I'm gonna have eggs and fat-free cheese for breakfast. Oh, I only use 2 points today, so I'm gonna have a fucking zebra cake for 12 points because I have 30 points. I'm gonna have a zebra cake, and then I'm gonna have a scoop of ice cream, but I'm not gonna get Halo Top. I'm just gonna get whatever because it's 10 points, but I got the points for it. But it's like, you got the points for it, but do you have the calories for it after eating brown rice and grilled chicken twice and then eating 4 eggs in the morning? Like, not everybody's built like that, but I did it because it was easier for me because it was the least. So purple brings you down to the least amount of points. So that's why it worked better for me. So I wasn't overindulging, but I just didn't want to have to on green or blue, like green and blue at my weight. I had like 80 something points.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
How can I do this?
Yeah,
I just can't do this. But I measured everything. And that was the key. Even though it's 0 points,
still got to measure that shit.
You still got to measure. Like, get yourself a scale. You don't have to be, balling out. You can get a little scale from Walmart for, $10. Like, measure your food. Go to Dollar Tree, get the little scooper with the cup all the way down. Measure your food. And, it's even if it's 0, just measure it. Because if you don't, what's measured
exactly. Well, you need to know what's going in your body.
Exactly. You got to keep track of it. And that's what those apps are good for. Is like when you have a weekend, just like, damn, I thought I did really good. And you look back and you're like, oh, well, I was eating a little more here. Like, and that's what I liked with Weight Watchers was I can go back and be like, oh, well, I didn't really have a good week, but I eat this. And I literally track everything. Like I used to track everything that went into my mouth. So I knew. I've gotten past tracking every single piece of food that goes to my mouth. I don't want to be tracking for the rest of my life. Like I want to be able to live a life where I can eat what I want, but currently in my process, tracking my food, scanning it in, like I'm a big technology guy. So I love just being able to pick up my phone, beep, okay, I'm going to get it. But doing 2 things, doing the eye track bites with the keto, well, not keto, but low carb, and then the Weight Watchers, it's cool to see like, oh, this slice of cheddar cheese that I want to put on this burger is 60 calories. And that fits into my day. But 4 points doesn't really fit into my day really good.
Right.
So, and that's where the breakdown is. And the other big thing is they don't really focus on like people like us who are working out.
Yes.
So I'm gaining or whatever, but I need more fuel.
Yes.
You get.
Well, that's what I liked about MyFitnessPal is like you would get the calories back.
Yes, so that's what I did. My first.
You did that.
My FitnessPal.
Do you? So when you do MyFitnessPal, you have them to track your calorie burn too.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
you subtract it out.
Yeah, you have that.
I turn that off.
All your stuff.
Yeah, personally, I've always turned it off because I don't know how accurate the calorie burn is, so I would just turn it off.
That's my argument with these Apple Watches and stuff like that. Is like I don't know.
Their calorie burn's way off.
Yeah, it has to be.
It's usually way high.
Calibrate though. That's the one thing I will say. You got to calibrate. I say calibrate every 10 pounds. If you go up or down 10 pounds, they show you if you just Google it for Apple Watch, which I know is probably most common. Even Fitbits too, you Google it, they tell you like, oh, you got to do this. It's going to reset and then take like for Apple a 10-minute walk at a regular pace, not running, not slow walking, a regular pace, and then it recalibrates your watch. And I've literally done like my boxing exercise, trying to be a similar force to the next one, did my recalibration and seen it change, but you're right. It's not 100% accurate, but
no, 100%. I worry those things are high because then all of a sudden it justifies like, oh, I just burned
overeating
100 calories in the gym. Now I get to eat 4 slices of pizza because I just burned 1,100 calories.
Right.
I hate.
You probably burned like 400. You didn't burn.
Or like the the supposed window you
Oh,
have.
metabolic window, that's garbage.
I love that. I love that theory.
Yeah, metabolic window is garbage.
Oh,
I got a question
burned so
for
many
you.
calories. Okay.
I got a question for you. So this is an interesting one because obviously you're in a position that John and myself aren't in, that I know has influenced others based upon like making better decisions, all this kind of stuff. How is instilling nutritional habits and fitness habits in your kids been in this process? Because like obviously it's explain to me your process of how you kind of instilled that in your kids. Has it been like I don't know? Yeah, what has that process been?
That's a good question. So I've grown up fat my whole life, been big my whole life. I'm working on that, But I will say one of the best things about being a parent is that my children don't see me as fat. And I know I am big, I know I'm obese, but they don't see me as that. They just see me as dad. Mm-hmm. But they understand what we are doing. One, like I said, my bike's in here, and they keep all their board games and their arts and crafts in the garage. I'll put up a picture later and tag y'all in it. Like our garage, we have like a lot of workout equipment, and they know what we're doing in there and they understand why. But one thing I like is like, we don't really like them calling people fat. We don't like them using that word. I mean, they use the word, but we're trying to let them understand that everybody is trying to work on themselves and be healthy. And, when we cook for them, we cook in general. I mean, when you got a kid, you'll realize like, sometimes you got to cook like 3 different meals because kids just be kids, Yeah. So when we cook for them, we try to explain to them like, you got to make sure you eat your vegetables, and, we use these measuring cups because this is a portion. You can't just sit here and eat all the macaroni and cheese. Like those are things that I didn't grow up knowing. Like it's not like these tools didn't exist, but we didn't measure. Every night was like Thanksgiving, where you just get the big spoon and you're like, all right, it's dinner time, and I'm gonna get this big ass scoop of macaroni and cheese. I'm going to get 2 pieces of chicken. I'm going to get bread. I'm going to get a big ass thing of soda. And it's just like, you just eat and you don't take in consideration what you're really putting to your body. And I'm not saying that's like a generational thing. Things were very different in the 80s than they were now. Right. And I'm not putting any blame on my parents or anything like that, but it's just things you don't really take in consideration back then. You just were eating because it was breakfast. You're going to eat. Breakfast time. I'm going to get this big thing of cereal. I'm going to fill it up with milk, eat that. One of my biggest problems as a kid, and I know it was when we lived over in Queens, we lived in Cambria Heights. And Cambria Heights is really close to Elmont. But, getting up and getting dressed and then driving over to Elmont, we would go to the store called AMPM. It's like a little bodega. And every morning, I'm talking like 3 out of 5 days a week, we would get Nutriment for breakfast. And we were
What's Nutriment?
Nutriment is like
it comes in a can.
It comes in a can. It's like a meal supplement, but it's not for a freaking 7-year-old kid.
Right.
But
I mean, Nutriment is actually even to like gain weight.
It's like an old person's like nutritional, like kind of
sort of the way that
it's Caltine bars.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's the way that they market it is just very. No one knows where Nutriment came from. It just kind of showed up in every corner store in New York one day.
Everyone just started buying it. Yeah, we literally would go, and they were only like, at that time they were like 78 cents.
Yeah, they still are.
So you go in the store, we would jump out the car. My pops would be like, "Oh, pick your Nutriment. Go get strawberry, get vanilla, get chocolate, get eggnog, whatever." Drink that so we would get into Long Island. AMPM is right off the right down the block from the highway, and then grab that, chug that in the car, not even like really enjoying it, just throwing back on Nutriment. It's a can, it's a little bigger than like a standard Coke can, and then just go into school and then eat, whatever school. We were low income, so we had free lunch. So we always had lunch in school, and school lunch is not like, at least back then, it wasn't the healthiest. There was no,
it was pizza.
We didn't have anybody bringing, Brussels sprouts. We were just getting like, every Wednesday was that little square pizza.
Yep.
You got the burger, French fries,
chicken patty Thursday.
Yeah.
Did you guys have churros?
Like 10 o'clock. Nah, we weren't that cool yet.
We had high school. We had churros.
We had high school, middle school, high school. We had churros. I used to eat like 6 to 8 of them.
We had hot pretzels. for no reason. We had hot pretzels with cheese. So I used to get like 2 hot pretzels, an order of mozzarella sticks, and just god.
What's funny to me with school food in like, it's the classic your go-to fast food, but it didn't even taste good. Like the pizza it was just awful. And you're sitting there going, I'm eating pizza, and it's not even pizza. Yeah. Like it's not like you're eating good pizza. It'd be one thing if it was good pizza, but it's just floppy awfulness, and it's like kind of hurts my soul to think about now. It's like I wasted so many pizzas on bullshit pizza.
Yeah, it's like a really depressed little rectangle.
Yeah, it's like
it's so depressed.
It's just flops.
You ate that with milk.
So listen, actually,
10 o'clock.
Really quick. So my school, when I was younger, my elementary school, they used to serve. At first, they never served pizza every day, right? And then later on, they started. It was an option every day. But then what they would do is, whatever leftover pizza there was, they used to cut those squares into tinier squares and serve them on what was the salad line as a topping for salad. So my fat fucking ass, would get double lunch, so 2 pieces of pizza, and then I would toss on all these little pieces of pizza on top. Like, it was the most redundant thing in the world. And then they would sell pretzel rods. They would give you 5 for a nickel. I'm not kidding. When I tell this story, I sound like an old man, but they would give you 5 for a nickel. And no one bought pretzel rods, but my ass loved pretzels. So I was buying, bro, a nickel? I got like 7 nickels in my backpack right now. What do you want to do? Like, getting a whole bag of pretzels for 30 cents. Yep. That was school lunch. And this is why America's fucked up.
Oh my gosh. That is too funny. I'm trying to think of churros was a big one for me. Those things are so good. Floppy pizza, burgers, chicken sandwiches.
Did you guys have those poor excuses of breadsticks? They used to, my school.
Oh, the Bosco sticks?
Yeah, they used to call them pizza sticks in my school.
The Bosco sticks. That
with the weird like Chef Boyardee spaghetti we used to get.
Yep.
But the cheese inside one, the Boscos.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. They were disgusting.
Italian.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like my school lunch. Like, we would get the
it wasn't bad. It was great. The calendar was
think about the days. I'd be like, oh man, I can't wait until the 16th. I'm gonna fuck it up on the 16th. You know, I was hyped about certain days. Like, but that was my like obsession with like food and stuff. And that.
Did you eat big? Did you eat big in school then, or were you like?
Because you only got you only got one meal. You know, especially because we were low income, so we only got the one meal, and you didn't really have the option to buy more. So you get your one meal, and you go on the line.
I feel like the option to buy more didn't come till later on, like in middle school and elementary school. I wasn't allowed to double up, but like later on you were. But I remember
in high school I could.
Yeah, in high school absolutely.
Options.
Yes,
in high school there was options, but high school
what high school
every day in high school I went to Elmont.
Okay,
I had every day for lunch. It was 75 cents for French fries, and I would get packets of mayo and ketchup, mix it up, get 2 French fries, and just eat that every single day.
We were doing the same thing in Farmingdale, bro. That was the go-to. It was so cheap.
Yeah, for real. And if you get a big ass portion of fries, and I would get 2 of them, and just that's what I would eat for lunch every single day. Like, and then when I got older, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna sneak out, because you couldn't leave the building until you were a senior.
Same.
So we would just try to dip out, and you get cool with the security guards who was like, because the stores were like so close, but it's like I'm big as fuck and I play sports, so I stand out. Yeah. So it's like people be in the class, and then you look, and then someone be like, oh, they saw you going, to sweet.
That was we had that my freshman or my senior year, my first hour class, my teacher, we had a deal with him that we would show up late as long as we brought him donuts.
Oh, we had a teacher like that.
It was literally like a religious thing that it's probably 3 days a week. We show up 20 minutes late, and we'd have like a dozen donuts that we'd eat in first hour, and I'd have like 6 out of the dozen.
So wait, actually, while we're on this, I have a really sad, it's a sad story. So we had a dean in my high school. Right. And at one point in time, he was the soccer coach. And
wait, you have a dean?
Yeah, we had deans in our high school. They were like the junior assistant principal for that grade. You know what I'm saying? So like before, when you got in trouble, you went to go see your dean. If you really fucked up, you saw the assistant principal. If you really, really fucked up, you saw the principal.
Gotcha.
So we had one dean, and he was the girls' soccer coach, and he used to be in incredible shape. Supposedly he went to the Olympics one year, whatever the case might be. When I got him, he was about 550, 600 pounds. He was a big man. He was a very big man. He used to run after school detention and in-school suspension. So his deal with everybody was, if you brought him McDonald's, you did not have to stay for detention. So there'd be 6 dudes in McDonald's. There'd be 6 dudes in after school detention. We'd all hit McDonald's really quick, come back with like 5 Big Macs, give it to him, and he'd be like, okay. And then he'd be like, hey, do me a favor. If like you didn't bring him anything and you were sitting in there for suspension or detention, he'd be like 10 minutes in, he'd be like, hey, here's the keys to my car. If you could bring my car around for me, I'll let you go. You don't have to stay for after school detention. Looking back at this now,
oh my
like
God.
living the journey, because I was big then too. So I was like, fuck you, fat fuck. I'm not walking there for myself. I'm not going to walk there for you. Like, but now looking back at it now, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, we're feeding your addiction.
Yeah.
And like, what? Like, why was nobody mad at this? Like, this was a real thing. His name was Mr. Hansen, and that's what we used to do for him.
That's too funny. I think that's always funny to me. Like we're getting to this day and age now. I mean, this is a whole tangent in and of itself, but I think it's important. I talk about my parents all the time. Age is just a number. Like their age is completely a number. I know 17-year-olds that have their life way more put together than some 65-year-olds. And you all across the board. And it's like, it is so funny to look back at like high school, middle school, and some of the teachers, and you're like, I used to look up to you. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, I'm sorry that we just went on that huge tangent.
But it was a good starting point, which is like talking about the kids. Like I think it's a humbling conversation to have, because like I think people treat it differently. I've heard some less than don't be fat like me. Like that's not good.
I don't want to say
like
that.
Yeah, like don't.
So yeah, are you building? Have you noticed that you've built? Because obviously that's your goal. But have you noticed that you've built healthy food relationships for your kids? Like, do you notice that they have good, habits?
We know it's working because they'll say like, oh, like I like eating broccoli like mommy because mommy's strong.
Right.
And that's the funny. So it's funny. Like my youngest, I guess my wife was like, she was just on Instagram, whatever. And then it was one of the Peloton instructors, like, I don't know, some just diesel black dude. And then my wife was like showing her, she's like, oh, look at this guy. He's so strong. And my youngest daughter was like, what? He's small. He's weak. Dad is strong. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, but like, this is like an in shape person. But that's kind of what I'm saying. Like my kids don't see me as fat. They just see me as dad. And my daughter is saying like, he's weak compared to dad, But yeah, we really try to put it down to them. Like, we don't want to tell them like, you can't have this, but we also try to explain to them like,
it needs to be a treat.
Exactly. It's gotta be a treat. You have to understand, like, we told them like, we grew up not eating very healthy. Mm-hmm. We've told them flat out, we grew up not being very healthy. And right now we're working very hard so that we can get healthier. And we explain to them, which is true. Like we're getting healthier so that we can prolong our lives. Because, if you don't stay healthy, and I believe that like just overall, if you can't just stay healthy, don't get me wrong, there's 90-year-old people that are like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
But, it don't happen for everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm bulletproof, but I've been blessed to not have any type of serious sickness other than just high blood pressure, not even hypertension, just high blood pressure. I don't got diabetes. I never had none of that, so I've been blessed, but I'm not trying to risk it either. Mm-hmm. So we explain to them, like, you have to keep yourself healthy. I'm not saying like you can't eat this, don't eat that. Like in portions, like my kids, like on Friday after school, they want some type of treat. They want a little scoop of ice cream. They want a little donuts. We went to like the little local donut spot. My daughter ordered this like fritter. I'm just like, yo, you can have it, but you can only get a half of it right now. Because it's a big thing, but like, and they understand that because they understand like, oh, it's too much sweet, it's too much. They don't understand calories, but they understand it's too much right now. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna cut it in half, give you your portion. And then tomorrow when you get back from Nana's, it's not here anymore. Somebody ate it. I don't know. It wasn't me.
Oh, savages.
It's not here. So when, it's all good though. Like they understand, like when we get them donuts, we don't even give them full donuts. We cut them in half. And it's not even so that they can only have half. It's just more so that they can have a piece And if they don't want any more, then they're good.
They don't have
sometimes
to.
I think if you give them the whole thing, they feel like they need to eat the whole
it.
thing. But also I've seen them where more and more lately, like they've stopped. They've been like, oh, I'm good. Like I'll be like, oh, you're throwing money away. Like I'll see them scraping their plates and I'll be like, oh, all my hard work. But then it's like, it's good that they realize
those
like,
are good
I'm
habits.
content, I'm full,
So really,
I get that.
Before we head off of this tangent, do you keep trigger foods in the house? Like as far as like kid treats, like do you keep?
Yeah, because I make my kids lunch every day. So every morning I make my kids school lunch. I make 3 lunches. We have like little snacks for them. We get them like cookies, whatever. Put them in there. For me, it's not I don't think I have like a trigger food.
I got you.
I think there's things that used to be trigger foods for me. Like I will say, like back in the day, I would get like Pringles and I'd eat the whole sleeve.
It's a fact.
Like I would literally sit there. If I got like some freaking cheddar and sour cream Pringles, I would eat it until the last chip. And your brain doesn't even realize you're eating it. Yeah. And then you're just like, oh, I guess it's the last one. And I finished my Pringles and then that's it. And you don't even realize you just ate a whole sleeve of Pringles. I used to eat like Ritz crackers. It's not a trigger for me, but that's like one of my favorite crackers. Like I grew up eating freaking Bravos, which were like the cheap ass Ritz. And then as soon as I like started getting my own job, I was like, I'm buying Ritz. Got these Ritz crackers. I was like, it's a whole new world. The salt competition is way different. Because my parents were like, oh, the Bravos are the same thing. The box is red. I'm like, no, it's not. And then I finally got Ritz, and I'm like, fuck it. So Ritz is like my favorite cracker. I would get like a soup and eat a whole sleeve of Ritz.
Yeah.
I would get like a block of cheese and just chop it and eat a whole sleeve of Ritz, a whole freaking summer sausage. Like,
yeah.
Now, like, I know when I'm full. And that was one of the big things that I was not good about. Like I would eat until like, I used to be freaking buffet bad boy. We would go up to freaking Old Country Buffet.
Yep.
Used to kill Old Country Buffet. We used to, and the problem was we
such a good spot.
Yeah, it was, man. We used to go like every weekend on a Sunday for breakfast.
Yeah.
And this was even when I moved down here with Golden Corral. The cheat code was
good.
You go in at around 10:30. You pay the breakfast price, and you're still sitting there.
Yeah.
And then at like 10:45, they start grilling the steaks. So you paid the freaking $6.99 breakfast price, but then you're getting the lunch stuff too. So not like when we moved down here, we hit up Golden Corral every time we went. Get there at 10:30, have my little eggs, whatever, have a pancake, go to the omelet lady, get that done. Then just sit there and think, and then like you pretend like you don't know the lunch food is coming out, and you're sitting there like, oh, you guys are bringing out fried chicken and steak, and then all of a sudden you're up there again eating your lunch portion all in the same thing. So I used to love buffets, freaking Chinese buffets.
Oh,
used to go.
Damn, Mitch was done. Indian buffets. It's weird.
I love last night. One of my people's.
This is what hurts my soul right now with COVID is all the buffets are down. And like celebration meals of like usually buffet was my go-to and Indian buffet in particular. And they're all shut down right now. And like, I don't understand. Can any listeners who have an Indian restaurant background, can you explain to me how I can go for $10 and get an all you can eat Indian buffet with buttered chicken, naan, all the goodies. And then the dinner to get the same amount of food that what I eat at lunch,
it's like $45,
$45 to $50. Yeah. So first off, how do you make money at lunch? Number one, and number two, why does it cost so much at dinner?
I think it's because they get you at lunchtime, so you go home and tell all your people,
I can't do it.
Yo, I hit this buffet.
Yeah, and then they go for dinner,
and then you all go at dinner time.
Yep.
I can't do it. But oh my gosh, that is like the buffet.
So I thought buffets were gonna be done. Like RIP to every buffet in the world.
No,
like they're coming back. Well, I just went to you ever been to like Fuego de Chao? The Brazilian I
mean, I've been to like Rodizio before. Not
okay, you like Rodizio? I love me some Rodizio. Okay, so they have like what they call the market table in the front where you get your salad and you got your cheese and your cured meats and your soup. So I was like, all right, bet that's not going to exist anymore because we live in a COVID world and, whatever. So we get there, we sit down, and the market table's still there. So I'm hyped because I'm a big cheese guy. I was like, fuck, I'm going to get my cheese. Everything's going to be great. I can't wait. So then they were explaining to us how it works. So you go up, you gotta hand sanitize your little hands. So they give you a little squirt, and you go like this, and then they give you lunch lady gloves,
No.
and that's it. They give you lunch lady gloves, and then they tell you, please use the utensil that's in front of whatever food that you're going to get, and make sure you put it back in the same.
But if you just hand sanitize your hands, why do you need to put on lunch lady gloves?
You got to put on lunch lady gloves.
Just double precaution. That's how it is at Whole Foods.
God.
Yeah, you got a double glove. You got a double glove, baby.
It's just there's no science in that.
No,
is it the machine? Is it the machine glove, or they give you one to put on your hand?
No, the guy hands you a glove. So it's the most redundant thing ever because you're still touching it, but that's why you just hand sanitize your hands. So you don't get it until you hand sanitize.
This is my favorite with COVID right now is you're seeing everyone showing perception of effectiveness, and it's just half of it's just like
you walk up to the line, you have to have a mask on. You say hello.
I respect that one. And then you totally respect. That makes sense. Wear a mask.
I could touch whatever I want once I have my gloves on. Like I'm just allowed to just don't matter.
I mean, at least it still exists though.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I felt the same way. I thought buffets were gone, but you know, they're the buffet by me. Which when we moved down, I loved it, Chinese buffet, but it wasn't that dope. But one buffet closed down like 4 miles away, and now we drive by because right across the street from the mall, and there is a line.
Bro, Florida's the Chinese buffet capital of the world.
Yeah, they don't
Florida.
stop.
They don't
stop down here. They just open them up, and it's crazy because they have a Chinese buffet, and then you go to the Chinese restaurant down the block, and I'm like, I know you. And he's like, oh yeah, I know you from the buffet. And I was like, oh, that's right. And because they all own
everything.
Stuff.
Yep.
Just because they know when you back in the day, they knew me. They're like, oh yeah, I know you from the buffet.
We're losing money on you.
Like, you're the guy who said you got this for your friend, but then we saw you sit down and eat both plates anyway.
Oh my gosh. So actually one of the things that's a tangent kind of more on a going back to the conversation, it is so funny to me how when you eat quote unquote healthy, and when I say healthy, I don't want to say it in the sense of like you're going to live forever or like when you learn how to eat more effectively, it is crazy to me because like you were talking about your Weight Watchers Day or like just talking about how when you're calorie counting, you're focused on your protein, you're focusing on hitting your all that stuff first, you can eat 1,600 calories and feel full.
Yep.
But flip of the coin, you can have a whole tube of Pringles, which what's a tube of Pringles? Probably 1,800 calories, maybe?
Probably easily.
Probably 1,800, 2,000 calories. You can eat a whole tube of Pringles and still be hungry at the end of it. Yeah. But you can literally take a whole day of eating 1,800 calories of being baked chicken with broccoli and this and this and this. And like you feel full that you can't even hit your calorie count. But then you can eat a whole tube of Pringles like it's nothing. I always find that one.
I think it's crazy.
When you learn,
I don't know if it's like the mass. It's the mass of what you're actually putting into your body. Like Pringles have like no mass.
There's no mass to it. Yeah, I can. It's for me. Satiety comes from protein and volume.
Yeah,
that's where. But again, once you learn that, when you start to figure out what you enjoy and you learn that process of focusing protein first with volume, you can eat a ridiculous amount of food and feel full forever, and it only is 1,900 calories.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that. It's like the junk food is not made to fill you up. I think junk food, and I don't want to label everything as junk food, but certain foods, what people consider unhealthy, they're not made to fill you up. They're made to hit a sensation and trigger off that feeling of like a snack. I'm good. I had a little sweet, I had a little salty, but it's not made to fill you up. Like you're not eating a plate of Pringles for dinner, like it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but absolutely not. So walk us through, what did you start to do after the Weight Watchers?
So after Weight Watchers, that's going to be right around the beginning of this year. I was like, I did it. It was cool. I did it for a year. I gave it a straight year. And I was like, it's not where I wanted to be. And I kind of went back up right around the holidays. I was bouncing up and down. And then around January, February, I just started getting back to working out. I started doing this boxing thing on this app called Punch Lab. I do that. It's like a little boxing counter and everything. You strap it up to your bag and you hit it. It keeps all your metrics and everything. I like doing that. And then, what was it? Right in the beginning of, April? Anthony D put out 75 on. Yeah. And I wasn't even looking to do anything like that at all. But that's my guy. And I seen him put it up and he posted like, who wants to join? And I seen it in the morning and I was like, it seems pretty good because it's only one exercise. You know, my body right now is just not built for like doing, 45 minutes of exercise a day. And then my wife just so happened right at that time, she started her 75 hard the same exact day. And I said, this is like, it was meant to be because now we're going to be on the same cycle. So I hit him up and I was like, yo, I'm going to do it. So I went out that first night. I went out riding. I did, 10 something miles on the bike and was like, let's go. So I started doing that. And I've been doing that since then, every single day, like today, May 8th, day 69, finishing that up. It feels good. Working out. I can't believe I worked out every single day for 69 days. And I think that is where my biggest change is coming. Like I'm probably down since starting that. I'm down like 33 pounds doing that. And we're down to our last week. I wish, looking back though, I wish I took, like I take my picture every day, but I wish I took like side profile pictures. Because and that's the big thing. It's like, and that's what fucks with your head. Even now is like the scale's going down, but I don't see the big changes because I'm so big.
Yep.
And that's where it like mentally it gets to you. Like, yes, the scale is going down. But when I look at a picture, I'm like, my face kind of still like, okay, maybe my neck looks smaller, maybe my cheeks look a little smaller. But like, and that's what I was saying, before, like, when I get down to like, I know when I get on the scale and there's a 3 as the first number, like it's gonna push me into a whole new level of let's get this done. And then when I get down into like, 350, 3.5, I'm going to ball out even harder. Not that I can't do it now, but like, I also want that gratification of seeing the change. When I see it, I think it's going to make me even more like, I'm going to be hungrier for it, but I don't see it on myself. Like I said before, I don't put up a lot of throwbacks and flashback Fridays and way back Wednesdays, all that shit, because I don't see the difference. Like I'll put up a picture and other people will be like, no, you can totally see it. And some of them, yeah, but I guess it's also like a sense of like not, and I don't want to say I don't appreciate my journey, but like I look at my old pictures at, 550 plus, and then I look at my pictures now and I'm like, I don't see much of a difference. So I don't want to share it because like, it don't look that much different. So why am I playing myself? But, because sometimes it's like, okay, my haircut was different. So yeah, my face looks smaller because my haircut was different, or I shaved my beard a different way. But I think that's probably not good because then I'm downplaying the work that I did.
The progress. Yeah. No, 100%. And it's interesting too, because like, I think I've talked about this on previous episodes. So like my 2 iconic pictures that I use quite often within like my weight loss transformation personally, I had a really hard time taking a shirtless picture of me at 400 plus pounds. I couldn't do it. Like anytime I was there. So like, I don't know if like this classic one right here. Okay. That's like one of my iconics. I was down 70 pounds when I took this picture. This is still one of my go-to like before and afters, but like I was 70 pounds lighter in this picture because it was the first time I felt confident enough to keep at 400 pounds. Every time I took a shirtless picture of myself, I delete it. It was off my phone.
Even for personal?
Yep. Couldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
Couldn't do it. And so like, it's one of my biggest regrets is every 400 pound shirtless picture of myself, I deleted almost immediately. I could not keep it because it freaked me out too much. So like that,
I was forced. I was straight up forced to take pictures my whole beginning of my journey
that's one of my biggest regrets is like when it comes to my transformation,
well, I don't and that's have what he told me. Yeah, that's what he told me. He was like, you're going to regret it. Because I was never one to take pictures of myself out or anything like that. So like what I do have, I'm lucky to have because I was in the club scene for a really long time. So just naturally, whatever photographers around the club were snapping pictures of me, I'd get the pictures before they hit the public.
Yep.
But yeah, when I started my weight loss journey, Steve was like, yo, you need to take as many pictures as possible of yourself right now, because later on when you don't have them, you're going to regret it. So
that's funny you say that, because that's one thing I regret in general is not even picture my weight loss journey is not taking pictures, period. Not wanting, like looking at myself in the mirror and being like, yo, I'm bugging right now. And like not wanting no pictures of myself. Like it's crazy because even like to this day now, even though I feel way more confident and happier in my body, I don't have any old pictures of myself, like barely pictures with me and my kids. Like I used to be the person taking the pictures because I didn't want to see what I look like. I knew what I looked like, but I didn't want to see it, locked in time.
Locked in forever.
Yeah. So like we have like this one, and I'll call it like our big like family picture that we always reference is right around the time the twins were born. They're probably like 3-4 months old. Right around I don't know, Halloween, the pumpkin patch. There's a picture of all of us sitting, and like it's still up in our bedroom, but it's like the worst picture of me ever. And like I hate it, but I'm glad that we have it because I can look back at it and know like
keep that
like,
perspective.
I don't want to go back there. I don't want to be that way. Cause like I'm sure you know it, and you guys have all been there, but like being overweight, even now, because I'm still at a high weight, like it fucks with you. Like it don't
100%.
It don't feel good to be that way. Like it's just the little things, like not being able to go on certain rides. Like I remember we went to Disney. Like Disney, I give them credit because they do it up for big people. So we went to Disney a few years ago, and that was when I was at a higher weight, and I was like, yo, I'm not gonna get on shit. I remember going to Busch Gardens as a kid a lot. One of my father's relatives worked for Anheuser-Busch, the beer company, and they own Busch Gardens. So we would always get tickets when we went down to Virginia to visit them. And when I was younger, I used to get on all the roller coasters, all the rides. And there was a point where it was probably like, I don't know, 14, 15. We went and I sat on a little thing and they were like, oh, it's not clicking. And I was like, no, keep going. Cause you're a kid and that was probably the first time in my life I was like, yo, you are fucking up. Like you OD'd. Cause I couldn't go on the roller coaster that I wanted to. And that hurt. Cause that fucks up your whole day. And then it's like, you don't even want to go on any rides anymore. You don't want to do shit. You just want to leave. And then it's like, I don't even want to go to the little tester chair because then everyone's got to see me sit on that tester chair in front of the ride and it not close. And then everyone's going to see me not get on the ride and walk away in shame. So it's like, I don't even want to bother trying to test that. So when we went to Disney, I was just like, my wife had told me like, oh, it's very appropriate for big people. Don't worry. And I was like, I don't know, like, because we want the kids want to go on all the rides, but they do make it so that bigger people can go on there. But I know there's a lot of places that I go to where I can't just go on rides, and I know still today I won't be able to sit on certain rides. Like even my bike, like my bike that I got, the weight limit on it's like 330. So as a master craftsman who put that shit together, I'm riding like I put up my picture today. Like I'm really out here riding that bike and I'm really hitting those numbers. I don't go out of the saddle or nothing like that because that's where I feel like my weight will fuck with it if I'm standing up all my weight on the pedals.
Yeah, and all its pedals. Yeah.
So I'm sitting down majority of the time. But like I'm really on that bike. I'm really putting in the effort. I'm really putting in the work. But like I'm also 100 pounds over the limit. And I know that limit is just like that's the number they put on there.
That's their liability number.
Exactly. Yeah. So when
they know if you put 350 on there, we know it holds 350. If it doesn't, we're getting liability issues. So it's probably like 5, 6, 7, but they're going to say 350 because they don't want to get caught in legal.
Exactly. So I mean, things like that, like you look at things where there's a weight limit. Like when I used to work, before I moved down here, I worked in Manhattan. I worked in Manhattan for 10 years. It took me 2 hours to get to work every day. It was crazy. That was like, I used to have to walk to the bus to the train to the city, and then a quick walk on 23rd and 5th to get to my office. And there will be times where the elevators, because this was a building with like 15 floors. We were on the 8th floor. There would be a time where people jump in the elevator and the elevator would fill quick. And I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna take the next one. It's all good. But it was because like if the elevator ever went up slower, or if it ever like made a sound, or if it ever just stopped, I feel like everyone will look at me like, oh, figure this fat motherfucker out on the elevator.
I think it's so important. And like I did a TikTok today on it where, John, I'm finally on TikTok's good graces again.
I hate TikTok.
Yeah. I was literally getting less than 1,000 views per post. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, 380,000 yesterday. But like the idea of I've lived a obese life and I've lived a fit life, and the pains of living an obese life weigh tons, like all just the miscellaneous shit that just sucks. And then the pain of discipline of living a fit life weighs ounces compared to that. Like just the simple things of walking and going and going on a roller coaster and fitting on an airplane and putting your fucking pants on. Like just all of that, you add up all those pains you deal with on a day-to-day basis compared to the pains of discipline, of nutrition and working out, they're not even comparable. Like they're just not like, and everyone can, and there's a, as we know, there's an obese population that says that the system is against us. It's like, it has nothing to do with that. Like, it just sucks. Like, it just sucks being 4, 5, 6, 700 pounds. It's just not fun in any way, shape, and form, other than you can float in water. I mean,
right.
That is the one thing obese people got that, like, in the case of a water landing on an airplane, guess what? As long as I don't die on contact to the ground, I float in that water, baby.
Fun fact, I can't even swim.
You don't have to.
No, I'm not good at floating either. Like, I'm not.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not buoyant. I don't know what it is.
Really? That was always the funniest thing when I was 400 plus. I physically floated in water.
Yeah, it's funny. You bring up a good point. You talk about airplanes. In my job, pre-COVID and everything, we would travel a lot. So the company I work for, we're big. We're like 27,000 people. One of the top 10 global engineering firms in the world. And we grow by acquisition. Like we don't just hire people. We grow by buying small companies, and we'll add 5,000 people because we bought a company. So I used to travel a whole lot, and at my biggest weight, I didn't want to volunteer to go on trips. And then eventually it was like, like I said, I'm pretty good at what I do, and also I'm good with people. That's probably one of my strongest points, and I think a lot of that came from my weight, because I always used to be on the offensive, like be as nice to people as possible, so that they never use my weight against me. So I've always been very good with people, and I present myself very well. So I would go to travel to these companies because, they're getting switched over, their companies got bought, everything's going to change. They want someone nice who can treat them well and be empathetic to their situation. So whatever, I would fly. And I used to, when I first went, I was like, all right, I know I need the extender. So I would always have that moment where you're on the plane. Right. You already have everyone looking at you because you're big as shit as it is. You're on the plane, and then I'm like, all right, where's the flight attendant? I hope she's, he or she is, right up front. Real quick, can I get a seatbelt extension? And, get that little quick in there. And then you sit down, and you always get that moment where you're like, let me just see. And you're like, still at my hips. So you get your extension, you put it on. And then there's the whole, like, as soon as the plane lands, and I always take aisle seats. I feel like on an aisle seat, whether left or right aisle, I can always, because that's the other thing, is I hate my weight being an inconvenience to the people next to me.
Exactly. It's not fair. And I fly Delta primarily. So, if you fly Delta, their seats are not that big. I sit in fucking comfort minus all the way in the back. So comfort minus.
Yeah. I'm all the way back there. But I always try to get an aisle seat, because I can shake my body either all the way to the left or all the way to the right, and kind of sit my arms in very tightly. And then you land, take everything off, stretch. I try to be the first one standing up, and then I can literally feel like the person in the middle, like they're getting that relief,
You look over at them and say, "Hey, if we do crash, I'm an airbag for you, man."
Yeah, like, don't worry, I'm super nice. Don't worry, I'm not just big for no reason, But then I roll up my little thing. Not anymore, which is dope, because now, luckily, I don't need the extension.
Nice.
But in the beginning, I would roll it up very tightly and then walk off and kind of like undercover, like, here you go, I'm done. Thank you so much for being nice to me, for being fat. But they're always really cool about me bringing it back up. But yeah, traveling on a plane is hard, and because you feel like a huge inconvenience to everyone else. And because I traveled Delta, and just my job status with Delta, we always got priority boarding. Even though I sat all the way in, the back end, I wasn't first class or even comfort plus, we got priority boarding. So I would be in that first line, and people will be like, the first class people be looking at me like, oh, I hope this fat fuck's not sitting next to me. Going on, and you're like, I'm like, oh, I'm in zone 1, but I'm in 44, 44C or whatever. But traveling is hard. Not as much anymore, because now at least, like, I know I'm still big, but I don't need a seatbelt extension, so that's a win for me.
But that's the whole point. And it's just as when you start to add up all the inconveniences of being at your heaviest weight, it is 10 times worse than the inconveniences of, all right, where's my nutrition at? What am I got to get my workout in a day, all this kind of stuff. Those inconveniences, they're inconvenient. Like, it's not convenient to go work out for an hour a day. It's not convenient to have to plan your food out before you eat when I could just go to Taco Bell and just indulge. I'm not going to say it's easy, but that is just nothing compared to you adding up all the inconveniences at your heaviest weight. It just sucks. But yeah,
I'm constantly looking for weight, like at least at my biggest. Like I feel like where I am now, like yes, there's gonna be some things that I can't do, but when you're close to 6, you're looking at every like maximum occupancy and weight limit, and you just feel like, yo, I don't know if you guys ever had this, but like the little plastic freaking barbecue chairs.
I never sat in them. I didn't even try.
I've broken so many. Luckily, the ones I've broken have always been in my family. But the biggest fear was like going to a barbecue or something, even as a kid, and they're like pulling out the plastic chairs.
I've done
it. They're like, oh, Gooch, sit down, man, sit down. I'm like, no, I'm good. I sit down all day. You know, and you're the only person standing up because I know that I'm gonna flatten that little plastic chair. Oh,
absolutely.
And not that it matters. Like those chairs are freaking $9-10. You know, but it's just that feeling of sitting on the chair with your food and then it breaking, or even worse, like you go to a restaurant and they got like wooden chairs and you're
hated that
wider than the wooden chair. And I'm sitting on the chair, but I'm also like squatting, trying to put the least amount of weight on the chair because I don't want to make it weird that I need a special seating condition.
Right.
But also I don't want to be the fat guy who breaks the chair in the middle of fucking Olive Garden and, you know, they're like, oh, well, that's his 5th bowl of soup. So that's why he broke the chair, you know? But like, even going to a restaurant and like having to like, and I still do it now because I still got a big gut, but like like yesterday we sat in a booth. It was uncomfortable, but it is what it is. But like going to the waiter and like making it clear, like, oh, we need a table for 5, like very clear. It's gotta be a table because like, I cannot, you know, certain restaurants have booths where the table in the middle slides. Some places don't. Like you see the table is built into the wall.
Right.
And it's kind of like where it is. Like I'm sure you guys have that situation where you slide in. Like I always sit on the outside of the booth. If we have to be in a booth, I sit on the outside.
Oh yeah.
And I try to like suck myself in and put my hands in. I have my hands in front of me so you can't see my fucking belly on the table because you're already tall, so
it's
you're
pinched and dropped over. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And you just feel so uncomfortable, and it's like waiter's like, oh, you know, you want us to look for a bigger table? I'm like, no, like everyone's already situated. I know you're busy. Like I don't want to make a scene, but like, yeah, those pressures of being overweight. Like I will say, the world has gotten
more fat friendly. Absolutely.
Yeah, more fat friendly. You know, like definitely. Like there's definitely bigger things have all been made bigger. But like it's not everywhere, and there's still a limit to that. Like they're not just gonna make booths that have 4 feet of clearance. Like you got to figure it out. But like that's rough because you got to deal with that.
Well, I mean, it's sad to say, but as America gets bigger, I think we're gonna see a lot more of that. You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to get out of that fucking statistic.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's a double-edged sword. I as much as I appreciate trying to create inclusivity, but at the same time, it's like
absolutely.
Yeah, let's just create free heroin everywhere. You know what? We got heroin addicts. Fuck it. Let's just free heroin for everyone who needs it. Just to help. And like, I don't know if I like that.
That's why I'm striving because I don't know what it's like to be thin. So to me, that's gonna not thin, but just you know, I don't think I've never lived a life where I felt fit because even back then, like my goal, like I said, I'm trying to get to like 297. When I was 297 as a kid, I felt fat and obese and not in a good place. But as an adult, I know if I get to 297, like it would be eye-opening to me to be at a place where I feel good about my weight. Like I'm not saying I don't feel good about it now because I know where it's been. So I feel good about where it is now, but I want to feel better about it because like I'm too big. My structure is too big to just be that small. You know, so
exactly.
I could get down to like I'm telling you, like a 297, 270, like high school Gooch, like, yo, I was fat in high school, but if I was high school Gooch, like, yo, I would fucking be freaking 2XL, 42 on my jeans. Like,
exactly.
You know, like back then it was like, oh, it was big, but now I wish I was that big again.
It's like me being Wonderland. I have no expectation for me to hit 199. I know people have said that to me. It's like, hey, David, you should hit 199 one time. I am way too built to be 199. Like, period. Like, I would be looking like a freaking Skeletor hitting 199. It's just not my body type. Now, and health and happiness have a great balance to it. You don't need to be 199 to be healthy. You can be 235 and be plenty healthy. You can be 265 and be plenty healthy. Like, you don't have to have this. Oh, you gotta be in the 100s. Bullshit. No, you don't.
No, I never want to be that small. If I weigh 190 pounds, you guys just call me Leon. Because there's no 200-pound Gooches walking around.
There's no 200-pound Gooches.
It's just not capable. I'm not capable of being 200 pounds, and still I have to scrub off my tattoo. If I get that small, don't even call me Gooch. I got to change my username and everything.
That's fucking amazing.
All right, it's recorded.
I would never want to be that small.
If you hit 199, you can't be called Gooch.
I think that's a good place to wrap this puppy up. What do you guys think?
That was phenomenal. And this was fun too, because this one got a little more detailed nutrition. It got a little more detailed into a couple different times. It's always fun. I'm looking forward to having people on more often too, just because the conversations go everywhere. We have incredible lives.
Change. Yeah, exactly. So my man, I want to, first of all, thank you for coming back 2 times in a row.
I appreciate it.
Amazing conversation, Gooch. I truly appreciate it. We both do. Before we let you go, I have a couple of questions that I like to wrap up the podcast with. So you let me know when you're ready.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
All right. So Gooch, if you could go back in time and talk to, high school Gooch who just got this job at Ollie's and he's walking up and down, the avenue, hanging out flyers and whatnot. He has no idea what's about to come next in his life. What would you tell him?
I would tell you that I would look back at myself and tell myself that you are not as big as you think you are, and you have the ability to fix what you've done, because it's what I've done, it's what I did. No one force fed me. So telling myself like, yo, you have the ability to do it if you just do it, because I didn't have any like drive. And that's the one thing I would tell myself, like, yo, just get the drive, get it done. Like, if you're gonna go to the track, you got to do it more than once a month. For sure.
Second question. If you could give 3 pieces of advice to those listening, doesn't have to be weight loss, what would they be?
Be honest to yourself. Be honest to yourself. Understand that, this isn't going to happen if you don't do the work.
Right.
And if you hide behind some program or some app and, all of that, it's not going to happen. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, do I want this, or do I really fucking want this? And if you don't really fucking want this, then just do the app, do on Instagram, do what you got to do for likes, but be honest with yourself that you want to make a change in your life. Next thing is don't compare yourself to other people. You get caught up in that quick. Everybody's body chemistry is different. Everybody, they started at a different point. Understand that where somebody is right now, their lowest weight is somebody else's highest weight, and somebody else's, highest weight may be, like, for me, could be somebody's lowest weight.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like my low weight right now at, 429, that could be somebody's starting point. So don't compare what, everyone else is doing. Don't get caught up in the game of comparisons. And the third thing would be, every little step counts. Like, I've been saying this thing the last few weeks that, and it really changed my perspective on a lot of things, is we live in a world where it's really checkers and not chess. Like, I know your favorite rapper may say it's, playing chess, not checkers, but it really is checkers, not chess. I mean, you open up a chess board, you open up the game of chess, there's only one king. On a standard checker piece, there's a crown on the back of it. So making all the little steps in the right order, all of us have the opportunity to be a king.
I fucking love that.
So it really is checkers, not chess. You make the right little moves and you can get to the end and get on top of your game. When the king dies in chess, the whole game is over. But if you surround yourself with kings, one of you may fall, you get to the other end, you pull the other one right back up. So we can all be kings, checkers, not chess.
Wow. I love that analogy. I've not heard that analogy before.
That is literally a first. Like, yeah. I've never heard. That is phenomenal.
It means really a lot, man. All these little steps matter. Like, yo, you don't have to make, these big extravagant changes. Like, yo, today, just tell yourself, I'm gonna drink a gallon of water every day. That's simple. Just start with something small and then be like, yo, I'm gonna walk a mile, I'm gonna walk a quarter mile, I'm gonna walk a half a mile today. I'm gonna put on my watch, put on my phone. There's always a way to track something. Just like, yo, I'm gonna walk a half a mile every single day and just do it. Because every little step matters. And all those little steps, that's where you make the progress, man. Just don't try to jump into something fucking bull by the horns, because when you fail, you're gonna fail hard. But failing is a part of it too. But when you fail hard, this could be discouraging. When you fail small, you're like, all right, I fucked up on that day, but I'm gonna get it right back. I'm gonna spin it and come right back. So checkers, not chess.
No, I love that. Leon, I appreciate you being on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Again, thank you for coming back to back. Before we let you go, let everyone know where they can find you on social media, plug all your stuff, whatever you got going on, please. This is the time.
Pretty much you can find me on Instagram. I'm Gooch, you're not. The original Gooch. I'm talking back in 83. You know, Gooch is not a bad thing. Fucking Jackass movie ruined it.
Yeah.
Can't put Gooch in any of my usernames on anything anymore, but I'm Gooch, you're not, everywhere. Instagram, Facebook. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at all the time. What I have working on right now, people probably see me doing my hot sauce, you know, designing shirts, selling merch, doing this little sock thing right now. But I'm staying active. That's what's most important. I'm really out here doing my work. Believe when I say, like, yo, take the little steps. That's what I started to do, and that's where I'm at. So I love you guys. I appreciate you both. Thank you for having me back, man.
Bro, just the same.
We'll do this again when I get to 198. So you can take my Gooch badge from me.
Take your Gooch title away. Nah, man, seriously, Leon, this has been absolutely amazing. So thank you. All right, guys, we appreciate y'all listening in today. As always, you can find the Accountable Life Journal on Amazon. The link will be posted below the video. You can sign up for accountability coaching by visiting ALG.com. Wow, I fucked that up. www.algcoaching.com. You can join the Accountable Life Group community call each and every single Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Pacific. We accept new members every week, and as always, the call is absolutely free. And I think that's it. David, is that it? We have anything else we need to tell them?
Other than you're a bunch of stud muffins, because you're listening to this right now, and you're a bunch of champions, and do something that is kind of tough today and celebrate the progress tomorrow.
Hell yeah. And like my man Gooch said, it's checkers, not chess. All right, guys, stay beautiful, stay sexy, stay accountable. Y'all have an amazing week.
Take care.